signed our names with no regrets, only wanted to be the best that we could be. And we wanted this and nothing more than to be true down to the core. We thought we'd live forever, but when the full moon is bright and the wind blows just right, I can hear your voice on the wind. 21 guns into the night till we meet again on the other side. 21 guns, this is goodbye till we meet again on the other side. Yeah, 21 guns.
Beautiful thing to see the family and friends come together and honor his life and his service to our country.
It's great to see you guys out here. This is awesome, really.
Hey, how are we doing out there tonight? This is Wednesday. I call it Warrior Wednesday. We are on Patriots Inside the Wire. And tonight, we are going to have an extra special episode here from what we were going to be giving to you. We have a situation here in Texas. So grab your friends, your loved ones, share this while you get settled. Commissioner, we have you in, but you are vertically... We need to turn you. There we go. And like a portrait. There it is. Perfect. So on Patriots Inside the Wire, we have co-host John Swat. Welcome tonight, John. We have our special guest tonight as the Commissioner of Agriculture, Mr. Sid Miller. Mr. Sid Miller was going to be on for some other topics tonight, but there have been some developments that have happened, breaking urgent information that we need to get out, and we need to help our fellow Texans in our community work together. So as the commissioner approached me, I said, you bet, let's do it, and let's get to it. So thank you, John, for helping me switch gears here on getting the information out. Thank you to everyone out there that's listening to Patriots Inside the Wire. Please join us and listen to what the commissioner has to say. If you are in distress, you are having urgent matters, we have information for you that we will provide. There is a lot going on, and we are going to give you information in regards to the fires. Welcome, Commissioner. How are you?
Good evening. Good to be with you, Tracy.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you. I wish it were under different circumstances like it was going to be. Commissioner, I'm really going to let you take the lead here, and let's let everyone that's listening know what is going on out there.
Well, we've got a lot of wildfires up mainly in the panhandle of Texas. We've got 6 fires up there, one that's extremely large. The others are big, but there's one that's earlier today, it was the second largest fire we'd ever had in Texas. It's probably past that now. It's probably number 1. We've got the Smoke Creek fire, and it's over 850,000 acres. It runs just east of Amarillo, all the way over to Pampa, entirely across the Panhandle, and now it's stretched into Oklahoma. So, almost 1 million acres. Time you add all those fires up, we've lost maybe not thousands, but maybe tens of thousands of cattle up there. We don't have any numbers yet. We don't know how many structures have been lost. I know that they evacuated the city of Pampa. We had a livestock collection facility there. So we set up at the county fairgrounds. People bringing their horses and animals in for safety. We had to evacuate those and move all those to Childress, Texas. So it's quite an ordeal. We've got, it's 0% contained. The big one is 0% contained.
In
So
which location is that, Commissioner? The one that is 0% contained and so large? The area? That location?
it's north of Pampa and
Okay.
east of Pampa into Oklahoma, and then it goes west back towards Amarillo.
Okay.
There's right there north of Amarillo, north of the Pantech plant. That's our nuclear facility where they make the
Gotcha.
nuclear bombs and stuff. So, and there's several others scattered around out there. They're not quite as big. Some of them are as small as 2,000 acres. There's one that's up to another one that's 40,000 acres, which is no small fire. This fire is twice the size of the area of Houston, Texas. It's over 800 square miles. It's a big one.
Wow, Commissioner. That was a big reference. That's what I was looking for, is what can you give us so that everyone that's listening out there and isn't paying attention to math in class, what is that number look like as far as on a large scale, that many acres? And when you said double the size of Houston, did I hear that correct?
Yes, double the size of Houston. It's this country up there in the Panhandle is not farming country. It's not wheat, which is the only crop we've got growing right now. It's mainly ranching country, a lot of big canyons, rolling hills, a lot of what we call CRP land, which is Conservation Reserve program. And that's for erodible land is put in a soil bank and planted in grass, not grazed, not baled. So it's got, years and years of thatch built up on it. And it's a real tinderbox. I mean, it's just like gasoline going up. They plant that in improved grasses instead of native grasses. I don't know why we do that. Native grasses like buffalo grass and curly mesquite, barely get above your, ankle. These improved grasses that they have them plant out there get 4 or 5 foot tall. So that means the flames shoot up 30 or 40 feet. You can't even get close enough to the fire to fight it. The heat is so intense. So somehow it just has to burn itself out. It's a sad thing to go through. People have lost. We've got people that have lost, have grain stored on the farm. They've got grain elevators have lost everything they had up there. Cattle dead by the thousands. So I haven't heard any loss of life yet. Hopefully we don't have any. We did last time. This is second time fairly recently that this is burned off before. So about, I guess it's probably 10 years ago it burned off. Same area. So it's pretty bad.
Commissioner, do you have any idea how that fire started?
Well, I don't think it was lightning because there was no storms in the air. More than likely, we have power lines going out to pump jacks and across these thick grassy pastures. When we get high winds like we've had, and we still have the high winds, those lines get to flopping and they'll arc, and the arc from the electric lines. We don't know exactly what caused it, but that's what I suspect caused it, because it's a problem, especially some of those old lines that are not taut anymore. They're sagging, they've got slack in them, so they're really loose. They're the ones that tend to swing in the high winds and arc across each other, causing a fire to shoot down and set the grass on fire.
I just heard something in there. This seems to be a problem that was already known, that these wires, this could happen. Is that true?
Yeah, a lot of those. There's a lot of, and I don't understand the exact reason for it. Some tax implication or well plugging problem. but they will keep a meter on a well that's not active out there. And some of those, wells are 30 and 40 years old. So that means the electric lines are that old too. And they're, the poles are not, they're rotten. So any number of things can help start a fire out there like that.
So, Commissioner, definitely we are fortunate to have you here to get some real information out. I don't pay attention to the mainstream, but I do pay attention to other areas where I get my information and my news. But having you with us, you can't get any closer to anything else of what is going to happen. So, what do you foresee is a next step, and what are we going to do, Commissioner, about these cattle, the families, the land? Do you have some steps that we're about to take?
Well, my phone's blowing up. People want to know when, how can they organize a caravan to take, hay and post and wire. All the fences are gone. We got to replace all of that. We don't have that scheduled yet. We got to figure out where we are. We don't even have a count on who needs hay or how many cattle have died or how much fencing material we need. We'll get that. It may be a day or two, but soon as we've got to get the fire put out and assess the damage and see where we are. Now then, there's I have a program at the Texas Department of Agriculture called the STAR Fund. It's State of Texas Agricultural Relief, STAR, the acronym. And what I do is I raise money. This is not taxpayer dollars. This is just come from the goodness of good people, individuals, some corporations, nonprofits, civic clubs. We'll take a donation from wherever we get it, and then we will go in with the farmers and help them buy T-post and wire or lumber to put a barn back, something that crop insurance or homeowners insurance doesn't pay for, and
Yes, sir.
those don't pay for those. So we 100% of that, Tracy, goes to the farmer. We don't keep an admin fee or anything. We don't. So unlike a lot of charities you give to, 100% of that, we get it back in the farmer's pocket to help them get back on their feet.
And I do know that to be true based on working with you within those. And I do appreciate that. You have multiple websites you gave me. I don't know that I have the one that you just mentioned, Star. I have a few others between your office. And one is texasagriculture.gov, typical one. And then it's the Texas. So it's at the university, the UTHCT. What is that website again? So I can put that in here.
You can find all these programs on our main website, texasagriculture.gov, texasagriculture.gov.
I have that one.
STAR program, you click on the link for grants and then click on the STAR program. We also, Tracy, have a hay hotline. So if you've got hay you want to donate and you can't haul it up there, go to our hay hotline, donate it. We'll find somebody to haul it. If you're needing hay, if you're in that area and you've lost all your grazing and all your hay, go to the hay hotline and we'll try to link everybody up there. Then in a few days, we'll organize some caravans to leave from different parts of the state where we can all go up like the old wagon trains used to do and deliver the goods up there. We'll have some fencing drives where people can buy couple of 3 T-posts at Tractor Supply or somewhere and a roll of wire. And, we'll let people do that for a week or two. Then we'll gather all that up and head up that way.
Yes,
One
sir.
of the things it's kind of hard to talk about, but it's much needed and it's relatively new. And we've talked about this before, Tracy, is our agri-stress helpline. It's basically similar to a suicide hotline. I don't like to call it suicide. That's a very negative term to me. But it's mental health for rural people. Now there is a suicide hotline. You can dial 988 and you'll get an operator, but they don't know anything about agriculture. So the difference in that one and mine is my operators have 300 hours of training. They speak 168 different languages. They know all about agriculture. They know the assets and resources available to farmers. You might call them up and say, I just lost everything. Well, Mr. Farmer Brown, did you know that the USDA has a low interest loan program, disaster program, that you could apply for that loan? Or did you know about the Texas Department of Agriculture Star Fund? We could get you some help there. And then, by the way, we know you're probably highly stressed and mental anguish. We've got a mental health professional in your area. You can, we can set you up an appointment, and it's not 30 miles from your house. You don't have to drive into Amarillo or Wichita Falls. And after we talk to them, we call them back within 24 hours. We don't just make one call. We check on them. We follow them. We make sure they're all right. And so far, the program's been really, really good. We've had it up working about a year. I'm going to give the number if somebody wants to grab a pen here in just a minute.
All right, and I go ahead, sir.
You can find it on the web. Agri-Stress Helpline. Agri-Stress Helpline. All right. The number is 833-897-2474. 833-897-2474.
And Commissioner, I do have that number up. It is scrolling across the screen for those of you who are listening and maybe not watching again, and you may come back. It is here on the program, scrolling, as he just mentioned, the Agri-Stress Helpline, which is 833-897-2474. Please use it and let us know what we could do, and work together as a community in order to help not only the families, but our land, our animals. And, Commissioner, I'm thinking firefighters right now are probably listening to this and all literally wanting to rush up to that area. Now, what do we tell them?
Well, they need to check with the local fire department, or would it be volunteer or paid. I know there's a big crew left from Houston. Some of the other large metropolitan areas are sending people up. One thing about Texans, we don't sit around waiting for the federal government to come help us. We're not sitting on the curb waiting for somebody to show up. We get busy. We help ourselves. We help our neighbors. We've had the Cajun Navy come to Texas and help us. We'd certainly do the same thing for them. But we're very self-reliant and self-sufficient, and it'll be neighbor helping a neighbor, and your neighbor may live 300 miles away, but they're your neighbor.
They are. You are correct about that. I am very grateful for that part of Texas for sure. You are correct. So anyone listening, check with your fire department, especially if you're volunteering or wanting to do anything. Get in touch with your local fire department in that regards, or go to the website, as we've mentioned in the number. And so, Commissioner, as far as updates, I do know that you have a very large following on Facebook. Where will you be providing all of these updates that others can continue to go to see what is going on?
2 sites on social media, Texas Agriculture, Texas Department of Agriculture, and then my personal, which is Miller for Texas.
Okay.
We'll reach a lot of people, both of those. I think the TDA site has over 100,000 followers. Of course, I have over 1 million followers on mine. So we'll keep you updated there. One thing that I wish I'd have counted, but there's been about 12 to 15 schools closed in that area of the state. They've had to evacuate. The whole city of Pampa evacuated. Other schools have closed. So when that happens, and I'll back up a little bit. Every morning when I wake up, I know I've got to feed 5 million school meals. So we run the nutrition program for the schools. So the way the rules and regulations are, I have to keep feeding those kids. They still have to eat. So we have made arrangements to feed all those children at home or wherever they're sheltered. We'll continue to do that. It's really pretty easy for us because we had a really good practice when COVID hit. When COVID hit, I had those 5 million meals in the cafeteria, and the next day I had to figure out how to feed them at home. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We've had a real good system. We're going to make sure those kids stay fed.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. And as you mentioned, you do not have updated information right now as far as any lives. We do know that we have lost livestock, land, And there are going to be some displaced individuals that would be, just heartbreaking, just literally heartbreaking trying to return home. And I know that everyone's asking, well, then where should we go to donate? We're not in Texas, or even if we were, they can't make it up there physically to help. Will there be a fund of some sort? I'm sure there will, but right now, could you know of anything?
Sure, they can go to our website, texasagriculture.gov, go to the Star Fund and donate to it. Anybody can donate to it. It's real easy. You can do it online. You can drop us a check in the mail. We'll, whatever you need to do, we'll figure it out. But we actually have funds come in from nearly every state, Canada, around the globe. We'll get money. People are just kind-hearted, and when they want to help. Especially that it's tough. Some of these people have been on these ranches and farms out there for generations, 7 or 8 generations, and it wasn't but 5 or 6 years ago they lost everything. So now they've got new barns and new houses, and they've lost them again. This is a pretty tough deal to go through and survive. I mean, it's got to be very, very stressful. So if your listeners could help us get the word out about the agri-stress helpline, hopefully that will be a comfort to someone. We'd certainly like to be working overtime using that helpline.
We do. We have that backup again. We're going back and forth every time you mention something that we need to make sure is there. And I do want to let everyone know, as you're watching the broadcast live right now, this broadcast will stay here. You can come back and watch it again if you feel like you haven't gotten all the information there in each phone number or each link. This broadcast will stay not only here on multiple platforms, we are literally spread across every platform. We are live on X right now. And it's called Patriot on Air on X. And I know that they're able to see and hear us. And there is a big community there that does care about our agricultural areas. And there is as well. As you mentioned, you've got 1 million people just on your Facebook alone. And so following you and keeping up with what you have going, I feel like is a great resource for everyone to do. But the line that you mentioned, that helpline, I want to say, do not be afraid to call that phone number. It's going to be someone that will never know. It is discreet. It is there for you. Use it. Please use that helpline. For it is stressful. It is named agri-stress for a reason. So we want to make sure that you know and that you're welcome and you feel at home and comfortable to please call that number with anything that it is that you have going on. Commissioner, this is very tragic. Have we heard from the governor at this point?
Well, the governor has issued a disaster declaration for that area of the state. I think there's 60 counties in that disaster declaration. We have to first have that before we can get any federal help. We could possibly get some help from the USDA on grazing losses, a few things like that. But the problem with that is it's months. It's 6, 8, 10, 12 months. These people really need some help now. I mean, they're not thinking about 12 months from now. They're thinking about, where am I going to live tomorrow? What are we going to eat? How am I going to feed the cows that aren't dead? So immediate needs are need to be met first. But glad the governor stepped in and made the disaster declaration. So 60 counties affected by these wildfires.
60 counties, and everyone that's listening out there, if you're not in Texas, remember Texas is very big. So 60 counties in Texas is a state in other locations. So we want you to understand this is a catastrophe is what it is. It's a disaster. And as the commissioner mentioned just 5 years ago, unfortunately, this is something that tore through homes before. So imagine 5 years later, you're dealing with this. There will be lots of stress. So we do want you to use this information. I am glad to hear that our governor did put that out. Do you have more information as far as Texas and information? Now, these displaced families, where are they?
Well, we've worked with a lot the cities up there that aren't evacuated, but gymnasiums, other airplane hangars, where we can find county show barns. We utilize those for people and for livestock, pets, and horses and things like that you can get out with real quick. Most of the cattle didn't have time to be moved. A lot of the cowboys cut fences and drove them just as far as they could, but eventually they had to leave and get out themselves. So a swath that big, just no place for them to go for safety, really. So the cattle losses are going to be tremendous, probably in the tens of thousands would be my guess. I don't have any numbers yet. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's much smaller than that.
I do too. I do too. And from that type of a loss, I'm trying to make sure that everyone else that's listening would understand what that means. Having that type of a loss, what does that mean? That actually is a big deal.
Well, that's the largest concentration of cattle in our state. We have about 11 million head of cattle in Texas. 88% of them are in that panhandle area. Of course, a lot of them are in feedlots and dairies, but that's a highly concentrated cattle area. So that's why I say the numbers could be very large.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Something else you want to touch on? I, was looking at different things for what was going on and different pictures, but you firsthand have this knowledge. Um, and then when everyone hears what I just heard, I felt it when I asked where the families were, and they are in these temporary shelters that are being popped up, is what I call it. And as you mentioned, from previous, we had a great experience at what we needed to do in a crisis. The first thing that's going to happen is a lot of people will want to jump up, run up there, and how do they feed them? How do they get up there and just jump before we get more information? So, what do you recommend? Do you recommend sit still, pay attention to the information? What do you say?
Well, my experience, and this may sound a little ungrateful, but there's two disasters that happen. Uh, First is the natural disaster. This case, it's a fire, and then the second big disaster and nightmare is when all the people show up, unorganized. And so I would recommend you wait until you figure out where you're going, how you can actually contribute. A lot of people will just load up and head that way with a truckload of bottled water. And there's just not that many people up there. It's kind of probably one of the most sparsely populated areas of our state. The towns that are up there are very small. The largest one affected is Pampa, and it's probably, I don't know, 12,000, 14,000 people. I don't think it's even as big as my hometown, Stephenville. But most of the towns up there are 2,000 people or less. So a lot of them can, get into Amarillo or Clarendon or somewhere and get in a motel or hotel on the short term, move in with relatives. But there are shelters set up.
Is the information out there on that? I'm assuming it is. It's going to be, I'm sure, on the agriculturaltexas.gov, and that will stay as far as shelter.
Yes, and most of the people up there are tuned into their local news stations, radio, and TV. They're broadcasting that heavily, so
Okay.
they probably go to our site to find a shelter. But you'll find us at the shelter when you get there, tending to feeding people.
Thank you, sir. And does that mean that you're heading up there?
Eventually, I will, as needed. I don't like to come in the total chaos. The problem is when myself, like a statewide elected official, shows up, everything stops, and everybody wants to, give me the tour and all that. I don't like that. I don't to interfere with the volunteers or the paid people on the ground. I'll just wait until everything calms down a little bit. Then I'll go up. Somebody like a governor or the president, somebody shows up like that, everything comes to a screeching halt, and that's not good.
Wow. You are correct. So the advice, not only for everyone else, but for you too, would be to hold tight. Let's get information. Let's not distract. Let's find out the information and stay tuned to what that is and what that looks like. And then I can see that we will have multiple areas where people can help. But you mentioned just going to your website, they can already donate there. So, is that your millerfortexas.com website?
Uh, TexasAgriculture.gov. Texas
Okay.
Ag
The .gov. I've got that
States,
one.
the state-run program, so we use the state
Okay.
website. I'll also have it up on mine, but I'll just go straight to the state website, and we'll
I've
have we'll
got
have
it.
other we'll have other drives. We'll have where you can donate materials that some of the local lumber yards, some of the local feed stores will let you come in and buy a ton of feed, and when they get a truckload, they'll send it up there. Places like Tractor Supply will have a way where you can buy T-post and wire and things like that. And then when we get a truckload, we'll send it up there. So any number of ways to do it. The easiest way, just send it to the Star Fund. We'll put it in the farmer's hand, and he can start rebuilding his life.
That's here too. So that is also on the website of texasagriculture.gov. Go to STAR program. That is where you need to go if you're wanting to contribute now. Um, and for what we foresee to be the unknown as far as a few things, but we already know no matter what, this is a disaster. And we're going to need some help there. So, um, we do appreciate everyone listening. We do appreciate everyone coming together as Texans do and going to these sites rather than you can reach out to me if you may not have this information saved, but I can promise you that this broadcast will stay on. There is a website, which is patriotsinsidethewire.com as well, personally. But every social platform that there is, YouTube, you name it, this is a broadcast that's out right now. This broadcast will stay. It will not be deleted or taken down. We are going to make sure that it stays. And then we will make sure that it gets out on Apple, iHeart, and the other areas. And that will be on a podcast tomorrow. So for everyone listening tomorrow, we have a lot of information here. Go ahead and listen to the podcast, but you may want to jump on when you're back home if you want to just see a few of these things that we're listing. But again, the easiest thing, texasagriculture.gov, the STAR program. And then for me, the other easy way to follow what is happening here is Commissioner Miller on his Facebook. I mean, I don't know what to say. He is someone that literally will. I don't know how you do it. 1 million followers, but there will be not only you, but you do have a team. There's a young lady behind you right now that was sending me information. So I'm grateful and thankful to her that she's standing there and making sure the information gets out. That's Bonnie. So she was able to do that. So we are very grateful for those that jump in and make sure we get that done. What are your plans, Commissioner?
Well, and I was going to tell you this morning when we got up, we got a fresh report. That big fire up there was at 500,000 acres, 500,000 acres. The next report we got about 3:30 this afternoon, and it had grown to 850,000 acres. So 350,000 acres in a matter of 7 or 8 hours. And the last report now is 4-5 hours old. So that fire continues to grow. It's 0% contained. Some of the smaller ones we were able to get in front of and kind of slow them down. So they're not as big. There's one of them that's probably over 50,000 acres, which is a big fire. But this big one, it's really, really bad. It stretches, probably 75 or 80 miles across the panhandle up there, nearly all the way from Amarillo to New Mexico. Oklahoma, not New Mexico.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, not New
up
Mexico.
on-
We are all here in Texas. I'm trying to get you up there front and center. You know me. I'll push you out there. um, I am very, very grateful that you are here with us tonight. We are very sad to hear of switching gears here, but I know that I'm comfortable with the way things will be handled is because you're there. So
but
I am actually, yeah,
there is
you're
a
there.
bright note in this. We have a program that we oversee at the Texas Department of Agriculture called Prescribed Burn. And we have a board there, and there's intensive training, and these guys have to be insured and bonded and all of that. And what prescribed burn does is you can use that as a brush control on your ranch, or you can actually use it as a fire prevention. So about 2 months ago, the city of Borger went up there and did a prescribed burn around the city, about 7 miles strip around the city on that west side where the fire usually comes from. And that actually saved the city of Borger. It stopped it because we had a real wide strip already burnt. Of course, when it came to it, it fizzled out. So one high note, a little preparation paid off for the city of Borger and the prescribed burn that was done up there.
Wow. That is good for that area. So prescribed burn, we have that there too. And I'm saying it's basically what it says right there. Prescribed burn and preventing the spread of a fire in that area. So that area was able to be, um, I would say, saved
Yes.
from the devastation that is going on right now. Um, any other words that you have you want to make sure we get out in regards to this, what we call a catastrophic situation with our fellow Texans? Not just them. We're talking about land. We are talking about animals. We have, you mean, it's not just the family dog. It is the cattle. It's the horses. Everything you can think of. Usually, your food, water, you name it. Now, these are lands all across Texas that we use in order to get that. So these people work hard, and we want to make sure that we take care of them the way that we should, and the way that I would like for all of us actually to do so in this country. But unfortunately, I'm not in control. Um, but one day when I am, we will all behave. So I'm very grateful to have you here. Sorry for my really bad joke.
Well, you know, some people may not be able to take a load of hay up there, or donate hay or T-post. It's just economic to may not be able to do that. But there's other ways that you can help. I would suggest if you want to do a little sweat equity, you want to volunteer some of your time, but you can't get to the panhandle of Texas, go down and volunteer at your area food bank. These food banks are going to be extra busy trying helping us feed these displaced people. So that would be one way almost anybody could contribute is donating your time and volunteering at one of our, and it could be, it doesn't have to be a food bank in Amarillo or Wichita Falls. It could be right there in your hometown.
I'm putting that up right now as you're speaking. I am putting in the information to make sure that, and that's why you see me doing this. And yeah, we got that there. So might be time to get glasses, but let's see. There we go. Your local food banks, yes, around you to help. That's a given. To me, that's a given always. But right now, it's going to be extra busy, so we want to make sure to take care of everyone, um, and it's going to be a little overwhelmed. So do a little more, give a little more, and one of those ways is through the food bank. That is an easy way to do that. So
So,
check out the sites and your food bank. As far as wanting to help with the fires, check in with your local fire departments and stay tuned with them. I am not the correct person to tell you to go. And just like you said, Commissioner, it's one of those situations you don't want to just jump in your car or your truck and just rush up there. I know you want to, you feel like you need to, but but get a little organized here. Let's get it organized. We're talking fresh. At what time did this fire start again?
These fires started anywhere from 2 to 5 days ago.
Correct. And so they just made it from what I think. Now you can tell me if I'm different, as far as what I know, but I had not heard that until today. Today was the first day that I heard that this was going on as a fire like this. So I did not know 2 to 5 days ago.
Well, and they were just typical. We have fires all the time around the state, and our
Right.
forest does our Texas Forest Service does a good job of getting those put out. It's not
Good.
uncommon to have 5 or 6 fires around the state at any given time, but the magnitude of this one and the high winds, I mean, this one just got away from us, and it's just very devastating. The others, we're kind of controlling those. We'll probably get those put out without a lot of property damage, but this one's just massive. It's like a moonscape up there now. I mean, there's just nothing left.
Wow. Unbelievable. Very sad. Our hearts go out to everyone out there. Please use that AgriStress phone number. Reach out. Don't be afraid to do so. Many times, many people have always needed help. I would say they're not being very honest if you've never needed a bit of help of some sort. But if not, it's okay. Just call. This is not going to be a broadcasted thing. It's a private individual that will answer that phone that has been trained in the area of agriculture, which is very, very important, because if you're going to call 988, now remember that's there. 988 is an emergency number. But if you're going to call for AgriStress, remember, you're going to get your fellow agricultural individual that is educated in that area. And so this is someone that is your neighborly individual that will know the terminology. They will be able to speak to you just like your neighbor walked out on the porch, and they're there for you. So I do highly recommend, just like you said, Commissioner, that AgriStress hotline number is definitely something that we want them to use. So we're glad it's there. I know that you had a hand in that for other things that we've talked about before, but I am sure glad to see that it's there. Thanks to you.
I started on that about the time of the Uvalde shooting. So it's always bothered me, Tracy, that the 2 highest occupations for suicide in the United States is farmers and our veterans, which you're very close to both.
Yeah.
And it's more shocking that the suicide rate is the highest among farmers, and especially female farmers. They are extremely highly stressed. So appreciate you getting that up there. Again, 833-897-2474. AgriStress helpline. We've got the Hay hotline. We've got the Star Fund. All 3 of those you can find at the TDA website, texasagriculture.gov.
Right. And as soon as you mention it, I'm trying to make sure it's there and put out. I don't know if you can see it, but it's scrolling across the bottom of the screen there. So it will stay here with the show of Patriots Inside the Wire. So, Commissioner, that is something that I know I'll be praying about in my prayers. And, that's for me. I am we have a free country, freedom of speech because of you mentioned veterans, and you are correct. The 2 areas that would be close to me would be veterans and then agriculture, because of my younger brother who did take his life and was in agriculture. So we've had that conversation live, so I'm comfortable to do that. But yes, I have actually been educated, unfortunately, not in the way that I would have wanted to. So my goal is to get out the information and make sure that everyone else has this information and understands it is okay. Call the number, and no one would know. Nobody will know that you've called that number, and reach out. Now, Commissioner, when you said females, that's the first time I heard that one. So it is females
Well,
on the farm.
I was reading up on mental health today on it, and how it affects farmers. And these stats that I was reading showed that the ladies, the females that actually run the farm, and there's a lot of them out. There's a lot of female farmers out there, ranchers, farmers. They get stressed out a lot easier than the men, and they succumb to it sooner than the men. So kind of was shocking to me. I never really thought about it, but they have a very, very high stress level, intolerance to stress, I guess, is they have less tolerance to stress than men.
I bet it's the job is what I think, because we're going to get a lot of people sending us messages about, oh no, us females on a farm can definitely get it done. But what you're trying to say is in regards to the stress of, oh, you're about to lose everything, literally. Your land's about to go away, you name it. We're talking about the worst of the worst situation. We aren't saying that females are not able to run a farm, because I know I'll get that message. So I'm making sure I say it right here. No, it is that it's a lot of work that's done to be able to even keep the land going, just as each generation passes that down. And it is devastating when you are in a situation where it's just gone. What do you do? Because I know I'll speak for myself as a female. I've definitely handled a lot of stress, and with both of those, thank God, I've had my faith, and I've had areas that I'm learning about now that I wish I had known them. But the thing is that I had a couple, even if it's one, good people that I decided to pick up a phone and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" And you didn't even have to tell what was going on. You can pick up that phone, and if that person just sits there and talks, there might be a reason that they're sitting there wanting you to stay on that phone. So I always say, you never know. Please be careful when speaking to others. Be gentle, be kind. You never know what's going on in someone's life, and you may tip that over. You might be that one person that could either tip it a good way or a bad way. So I try to remember that every day. Not all of us really know everything, but um, I'm trying to go back to the basics. I want to quit adulting, honestly, and go back to thinking like the children think. Um, I believe that is the answer right there. That's about the most honest, kind, non-judgmental. So I say we just all quit adulting and decide to go back to being like children. And I believe that we would handle things pretty well and probably have a lot more friends too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you for helping us get this message out tonight. I think it's important. I know that you wanted to talk about something totally different, but I appreciate you accommodating me. I just thought, this was heavy on my heart, and I just thought we needed to get out there, get the message out there. People that want to help can help. And one thing that, and I don't know if we're about to sign off or not, but
We're good. Go for it.
before I go, there's one other thing that everyone can do, and it's the most important thing you can do to help these people out, and that's pray for them. Pray for them, pray for them, pray for them, because they need your prayers. Of course, they're always in our thoughts and prayers, but they need them more so now than ever.
Yes, sir, they do. Due to my faith, that is the one reason, that got me through. And if you want, I'm looking for it right now for you before we do sign off. It's ironic sometimes when I do get one. So I do have one that I'll say right now, actually, because I'm just that way, right? Thank you for joining us. But it's Philippians 4:6-7. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all you need and thank Him for all He has done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and your minds as you live in Christ Jesus. Now, that is something that just me, as Tracy LaPorte, I can say it. Freedom of speech is there. Got a son, gone from it. So I'm not saying you need to have my belief, but I'm saying I agree. Pray and keep these folks in the forefront of what will be coming up, of what they do need, and pay attention to that. And Commissioner, please keep us updated. I know you will. We'll just get you rescheduled to discuss that. I am always about getting out our information that is important. So something like this, I am happy at any time to jump on and make sure that we can do more for our community and take care of each other. So it's been a while I would don't want to say pleasure because the subject, but it has been my honor to be able to jump on and get this information out, and to have you with his SWAT there. John Swat and his family. They know this life. Between the horses and the animals, and I can just imagine what he's thinking, trying to get all of your animals and trying to get your family out. I'm kind of looking at him, and he's probably emotional about it, actually. Right, Swat?
Well, I just want to say, first and foremost, thank you, Commissioner, for coming on tonight, putting out all that information. There's a lot of people all over, not just the state of Texas, but probably all over the country and all over the world that have been wanting to know how they could reach out and get the correct information and get the correct help they can to all of our neighbors, like you were saying, friends and family up there in North Texas and in southern Oklahoma. So thank you so much for that. We know you got your hands full, but it sounds like you're ready to roll up your sleeves and dive on in. So we really appreciate all the hard work you and the governor are doing, and we're behind y'all 100%.
Well, thank y'all. And this is pretty somber message tonight. So I'm going to try to end on a little lighter note. Okay.
Okay, go for it.
When I close out my TV show and when I close out my radio show, the last thing I do is here's today's cowboy logic. So would you like me to share a bit of cowboy wisdom, a little cowboy logic as we?
You know that I do. Please do.
You can't really tell how good a watermelon is or how good a man is until they both get thumped.
Hallelujah.
There you go.
That one, there you go. Just give it a good thump. That's what it takes. I do like that one. I might have to say a little bit of cowgirl logic in mine. So I might have to take a little bit of your logic. I like how you think. So just a good thump. That could go a long ways in a lot of different areas, right? We appreciate you for being here. We appreciate your time, everything you're doing, not just about these fires. Commissioner, I know that you have been all over. I mean, I cannot even keep up with who's where and when and with everything that's going on here in Texas. So I know that you have just been traveling nonstop, and to have you here at home instead of, I believe, Fort Worth. You know, I don't know when you were going to stop, but I was a little concerned there, but that's what it takes. You're in it right now. We're voting right now, early voting. And boy, I mean, each office, especially, when I would hear from someone in your area, and I'm not talking about higher levels of office, I'm talking about right now. It's almost too much to keep up with, to be honest. And I wonder all the time, like, how in the world do you do it? Like, you literally are all over. So, and you're helping so many. So, I don't know how you do it, but I would love to know if there's
Well,
something I'm missing.
You start early and stay late. I've endorsed over 40 candidates in this primary election. I'm not even on the ballot. I think I'm campaigning harder than I've ever campaigned for myself, but I'm trying to get to all 40 of those candidates, campaign with them, have events with them, do fundraising, whatever I can to help, because we've got too many politicians in Austin today and not enough statesmen. So we need to swap a few of them out, in my opinion.
I like your opinions, so I think I'll keep them. I like your cowboy logic. I like your opinions, and I love your information to go out to our families, our Texans. I am glad to hear that our governor is on top of this, but I'll be paying attention to what you've got going on there. And again, thank you for joining us on Patriots Inside the Wire. It has been a pleasure to see you again, and hopefully not have you running all over. Voting right now is early voting in Texas. That will end. And then March 5th. March 5th is when you all need to make sure that you vote. If you're listening and you're in Texas, those are the dates, right, Commissioner?
That's it. That's the day.
That's the day. So we want to make sure, this is a tragedy. We want the information out, but I do want to say those voting dates. So the best way that you can take control of what's going on around you is, yes, our presidential election is important, but if you do not pay attention to what's going on around you, and who's there, then that's where you get the problems. So it is really important for everybody to stay connected, stay involved, be aware of what's going on in those dates. So all we're trying to do is just give you the information, and from there, hopefully you've done the homework and you know what you're going to do. So again, making sure we get the votes going for Texas, but we just appreciate you. We thank you for everything you've done. You are correct. I think you have campaigned more this time than for your own. So hopefully that pays off later. We appreciate you. We know we're not going to keep you. We know that your phone is going to be going off quite a lot. And let us know if there's anything else we can do. It's always easy for us to jump on and get out the information. That's an easy thing for us. So spread it across all at once. I can help there, and then getting it to different people. So again, staying connected and watching out for each other, pray for each other, and sometimes you got to thump. So I do believe in every bit of that. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any
God.
final thoughts? Good.
Oh, that's it. Pray, pray, pray. God bless.
Well,
Appreciate
yeah,
you. Y'all
got
get
it. Well, we appreciate you. Bless you. Bless your family. I know you're going to be all over. And for everyone out there listening as well, keep this information, pass it along. I do pray. That is what's gotten me through the toughest of times. SWAT, I won't speak for you, but I can tell you on our program, typically, yes, you're going to be with people who are like-minded. So that is why it's called Patriots Inside the Wire. So thank you for joining us with Patriots Inside the Wire tonight with Commissioner Sid Miller and our co-host John Swat. Next week, or even maybe Sunday, we'll get back to you with what is going on in with Mr. John Swat as well. And we'll stay on top of this, Commissioner, with the fires. But again, our prayers go out. We have the information there. Pay attention to the broadcast, or please get in touch with AgriStress, 833-897-2474. Don't be afraid to call. And then for now, go to your local food banks and get involved and help. And so thank you tonight, Mr. Sid Miller, for joining us still and getting that information out to us instead of CBS or NBC. We're grateful that you chose the local Texan route. So much appreciated there that we can get it out there and understand too. I know that SWAT sitting there, it's a coincidence is what it is, which I don't really believe in coincidences, but his family would understand this topic very, very, very well. And I can tell you that one of the individuals that gave me a lot of information who's being quiet was SWAT. So he already knew. And so when you have these families that's what they do for a living, boy, do they know it way before it's going to get on the TV. So thank you for that, Commissioner. It's always a pleasure to have you on. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're home. Try to get some rest. I know that's hard. John, thank you for joining us again. We'll get back out there with Patriots Inside the Wire. Look up Commissioner Miller. You can find him on his Facebook. You can also go to the multiple locations that we have. He even has his own, so millerfortexas.com. But Mr. Sid Miller on Facebook, and then obviously your agricultural departments through texas.gov, and take advantage of it, and let's make sure we take care of everybody. So I'm going to sign off. I don't have a cowgirl logic thing to say right now. What I have is common sense, and that common sense logic is to say, help each other, be kind, and definitely pray. Or you know what? Just keep your mouth shut and bless your little heart. Otherwise, that's what I think. So, uh, I am praying as much as I can for those families. So thank you both so much for being here with Patriots Inside the Wire. We do have a closing that we will play. And then after that, we will end the broadcast. Here it is.
Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Patriots Inside the Wire, hosted by Gold Star mom, Tracy Two-Step. Help us broaden our reach. Like, subscribe, and share.
Sorry, let's so out of my brother Two-Step.
Well, there you have it. It is just Mr. John Swat and I. It's we are very fortunate that Commissioner Miller Swat chose to come on and wanted to get that information out. You know, I know that you would have picked up on a lot of what he was saying, being that your family is very familiar with all of that. So we didn't get to hear you play, but we did keep it. We kept it right at that mark as far as time. Yeah.
Well, we
How are
needed to
you
get that
doing?
information. Doing good. We needed to get that information out to the audience, Tracy. It's very important, and the commissioner would know better than anybody. And so I think that was very important that we focus on that. Um, and I know he mentioned it, and I know you said it, but we just want to send our thoughts and prayers out to everybody up there in North Texas and Southern Oklahoma. We're thinking about them, and we're obviously going to do our part and make sure we can help in any way we can. So everybody out there, I know Tracy and the commissioner kind of gave you a lot of information. So y'all tune in, go check it out, and visit those websites so we can all pull together and get through these trying times.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying. And the one thing that he said that I say is prayers. My prayers are going out to the families right now. Just hearing that they're in those gymnasiums set up like that, boy, that one hits me. I hate that. I hate to hear that. That and the loss of our animals too. So, um, yeah, I am grateful that the commissioner did decide that to continue to go with Patriots Inside the Wire. So please take this information, everybody that's out there. You can share this and you can make sure that it gets out there to everyone so that they get the help that they need. And usually to sign out, we would have SWAT sing, but I guess tonight, SWAT, the thing to do would just be to say, stay kind, be kind, do what you can to help others, check out your food bank, and keep them in your thoughts and prayers, and reach out and help. That's what I have to say, rather than us doing some music. Although I'm going to be listening to it. Music is medicinal. So thank you again, SWAT, for joining us. Music, that's like medicine to me in the soul. So I'll be thinking about all those families, the meals he talked about for those children tomorrow. Now added on multiple other children that are going to need that breakfast that they count on. That is a program. We have our own country where we can't even, there's very hungry families and children. So that's always bothered me. That is an area. So please get involved with your food banks. Again, we are at the mark. And that is I'm bringing that up because I get teased quite a bit. So tonight was a breaking episode, breaking information, breaking story. We wanted to make sure that we did everything we could to get the information out. And I am so happy that the commissioner was able to get out all that information. And SWAT, I'm glad you were here with me to even take the phone call before and explain the geographic area of our northern area up by Oklahoma. Not that I don't know geography, but hey, I'm a female. I always tell everybody, ask for directions. I'm not embarrassed by that. Nobody should be embarrassed by it. So we're going to end with just be kind, stay kind, send up some prayers for what's going on, and stay tuned for more on what could be there for you. So thank you for joining Patriots Inside the Wire with Tracy and our co-host John Swat. So we hope that you have a beautiful week and keep these families in your prayers. And all I can say is what the commissioner said. I like the thump, and God bless. Thank you for joining us. We're closing out. Bye bye.